Hey guys, tonight we're heading into the heart of pre-colonial southern Africa, where the air smells of ash, cattle, and something just a little mystical. You're in the land of the Zulu, and the sun hasn't even crested the horizon yet, but your day has already begun. You lie on a mat inside a domed, thatched hut, the floor hard but familiar beneath you. A rooster crows somewhere beyond the cattle pen, and you can hear early footsteps. Someone's already outside feeding firewood to the embers. Como va? This isn't your average morning wake-up routine. You don't stretch luxuriously or scroll your timeline half asleep. No, your bones crack as you sit up, brush off yesterday's dust, and blink against the smoky light filtering through the hut's woven walls. Your blanket is made of animal hide. It smells faintly of sweat and cow. And that's normal. The homestead, your umuzi, is a collection of round huts set in a circle around the cattle enclosure. You're one of the Amabutho, a young warrior regiment, and you sleep near the heart of it all. That's where the herd sleeps too, protected by warriors. Just as you're fed by them, in this world, cattle are currency, family, and food all rolled into one bellowing package. You could probably recite your entire family history through the names of the cows your ancestors once herded. Outside, a pale glow on the eastern horizon suggests morning is crawling in. You hear someone laughing quietly, probably teasing the boy whose job it was to collect dung for the fire. It's still warm from the animals, and if he didn't do it quickly, it might attract flies, or worse, annoy a matron. And trust me, you'd rather wrestle a crocodile than anger a Zulu matron before breakfast. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It helps more than you think. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Are you in bed already? Or just pretending? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand and duck through the low doorway, squinting against the sudden blue of morning. There's smoke hanging low. Someone's already boiling water for the day's first meal, or maybe for medicine. It's quiet, but it's not peace and quiet. It's the hum of a community waking up, the shuffling of feet on packed dirt, the creak of wooden gateposts, the rustle of cowhide shields stacked by the outer fence. A woman, your aunt, maybe, or your brother's wife, steps between the huts carrying a bundle of firewood on her head. Her feet are bare, sure-footed, her dress patterned in ochres and beads. She nods at you but says nothing. Zulu mornings aren't for chatter. The early hours belong to ancestors, routines, and remembering your place. The elders say spirits still linger in the mist. That dawn is the bridge between their world and yours. So, you walk softly, you don't whistle, you avoid certain trees, and even if you don't believe in all that, you still follow the rules because the last guy who broke them got food poisoning and stepped on a thorn the same day. Coincidence? Historians still argue whether spiritual taboos were more social control or deeply held belief systems. Either way, you don't test them. You head toward the fence and untie the thongs, keeping the gate shut. The cattle sense movement and start to rise, lowing, shuffling. A sudden wet snort near your ears startles you. One cow's horns brush your shoulder as it lumbers past, eyes heavy-lidded, breath steaming in the chill. The herd is led out slowly, watched over by the younger boys. You nod at them. They're the ones you were just a few years ago, before your initiation, before the chest tattoos, before you were allowed to wear a feather in your hair or carry a spear, even a wooden one. You're not a child anymore. Though let's be honest, you still trip over your own sandals sometimes, and your father, he still thinks you tie your loincloth wrong. But you're strong now. Fast. You've trained in mock battle. You've memorized the chants. You've even been scolded by the Induna, the war captain, so you must be doing something right. You breathe in the morning. It smells of cowhide, smoke, wet grass, and dust. There's a tang of burned acacia bark, someone purifying a hut. Maybe. You stretch, twist your back till it pops, and glance around the umudzi. Everything's in its place. Huts face inward. The royal kraal, if this were one, would sit highest. The design isn't accidental. It's geometry with spiritual alignment, defense strategy, and cow logistics all woven together. Off in the distance, maybe beyond the hills, another homestead is waking. You can almost hear their drums echoing faintly. Maybe it's a signal, maybe just morning song. Either way, you feel it in your chest like a second heartbeat. The truth is, Zulu life doesn't start with grand ceremonies or blood-soaked battles. It begins here, in quiet rituals, in the rhythm of animals and fire, in how you wake before the sun and make your bed before someone scolds you. You don't realize it yet, but this morning is one of 1,000 nearly identical ones, each shaping you a little more into the warrior you'll become. One breath, one chore, one rooster crow at a time. And hey, if you're lucky, maybe today you'll finally beat the Bonnie at spear throwing. He's not that great, he just brags louder. Your stomach rumbles low and steady. You haven't eaten since late yesterday. And even then, it was just a bowl of fermented sorghum porridge and a few slivers of dried meat. Not that you're starving, just aware. Food in a Zulu warrior's day isn't about indulgence. It's function, fuel, and sometimes a kind of ceremony. You head toward the cooking area, where smoke drifts lazily from a clay pot propped over glowing coals. The scent is unmistakable amahiwu, a slightly sour, fermented porridge drink made from maize or sorghum. It's thick and cool and makes your tongue tingle. One gourd full, and you're good to go until noon. You sip slowly, not because you're savoring the taste, it's more like sipping a memory. This is the same drink your father grew up on, and his father before him. Probably tastes the same, too vaguely earthy, tangy, with a bit of grit at the bottom that makes you question your life choices, but it fills your belly, and that's what matters. You take your gourd and move away, letting someone else step in. Food is served by women mothers, wives, sisters, and there's an unspoken choreography to the process. You don't butt in, you wait your turn. You don't talk too loudly while eating. You certainly don't complain. A young cousin once called the porridge goat spit and got chased with a ladle. Deservedly. You find a shady spot and squat with your back to a hut. There's no table, no chairs. Your body is the furniture, your knees the table legs. You watch others join warriors in training, boys still too scrawny to carry a full shield, older men with shoulders like granite. Everyone's eating, quietly, purposefully. This is when the murmuring starts rumors of what the day might bring. Will there be more spear drills, a cattle raid on the horizon, a visit from the king's messengers, maybe just another long, dusty patrol? The tone is half bored, half hopeful. As a warrior, your job isn't just to fight, it's to be ready to fight. That means drills, lots of them. Sometimes so many you start dreaming about thrust, parry, lunge in your sleep. One of the elders strolls past, chewing on a stick of umuthi medicinal wood used like a toothbrush. He nods at you, a slight gesture of approval. You resist the urge to puff out your chest. It's too early in the day for accidental ego injuries. Once you finish your meal, you rinse the gourd with a splash of water and return it. Nothing is wasted. The pot gets covered, the embers banked for later. Someone starts humming a low, rhythmic tune that sounds more like breath than music. Soon others join in, casually, as if the song were a continuation of the morning routine, and maybe it is. Song is woven into Zulu life as tightly as thatched roofs and oxhide shields. You sing to prepare for battle, sure, but also to wash clothes, grind maize, walk long distances, or pass time when boredom creeps in like a lazy lizard. The melody lifts, then falls again. It's not complicated, not meant to be performed on a stage. It's background to your life, like bird song or wind through the grass. You find yourself humming along before you realize it. It's a lullaby for the day, not for sleep. Just as the song fades, someone yells your name. It's Vuzi, your fellow Ibuto, face already smeared with ash and grinning like a man who just found a mango in the bush. Drills, he says, get your gear. You groan loudly. He laughs, throws a clump of dirt at your feet, and runs off. You head back to your hut and grab your gear. Your eyesight ahlangu, the massive cowhide war shield, is heavy, smells like sun-baked leather, and takes up too much space in the doorway. You wrestle with it, nearly knocking over a gourd. Your spear is lighter, its blade polished with animal fat to prevent rust. It reflects the morning light like a wink from an ancestor. Outside, others are already gathering. You see Vusi again, now properly serious, stretching beside a line of warriors. Their uniforms vary slightly. By regiment, some wear colored headbands, others tiny ankle rattles that jingle with every step. Your own ornament is a leather band tied around your upper arm. It's purely decorative, but somehow makes you feel 10% more intimidating. You line up. The drill instructor, Umfundisi, paces before you like a hawk searching for prey. He's older, his voice rough from years of barking commands, but his stance is perfect. Back straight, chin up, spear steady. He doesn't yell, not at first, just lets his silence simmer. That's scarier anyway. Then the session begins. You thrust, you pivot, you drop to one knee and rise again, over and over until your arms scream and your calves tremble. This is the foundation of the impi, the Zulu fighting formation made famous by Shaka himself. You learn to move as one, to attack not as an individual, but as a wall, a wave, a rhythm of feet and breath and impact. The famous bullhorn formation. You practice it here in miniature. The horns flank wide, the chest holds steady, the loins, the reserve troops stay crouched, ready to spring. Scholars still argue whether this was a brilliant innovation by Shaka or an evolution of older tribal tactics. Doesn't matter to you. You just know your thighs are on fire. Halfway through the session, someone trips during a fake charge and faceplants spectacularly. The group erupts in laughter. Even the instructor cracks a grin. You help the guy up. He's fine. Only his dignity is bruised. You know the feeling. Eventually, the instructor signals a break. You drop your shield with a thud and collapse to the ground. Panting, sweat runs down your back. Your chest heaves, and you suddenly realize how good that sour porridge was earlier. Nearby, someone sharpens a spear on a flat stone. Another ties feathers back into his headband. You just lie there, staring at the sky, wondering whether being a Zulu warrior was this exhausting 100 years ago. Spoiler alert, it probably was. And then it hits you. Today isn't about glory or heroics. It's about sweat, practice, brotherhood, and sore shoulders. You stand up slowly, brushing red dust from your knees. The drills have left your limbs humming, like you're part instrument now. Tuned by exhaustion, your shield hangs loosely in your grip as you join the others moving toward the riverbank. It's not a break, exactly, just a different kind of duty. Laundry time. There's no grand ceremony to it, but there is rhythm. Everyone knows their role. Some carry baskets of dirty linens and tunics. Others grab scrubbing stones or wooden beaters. You take a bundle wrapped in old hide and sling it over your shoulder, following the familiar path down to the river. It's shallow this time of year, water sliding over smooth stones, reeds bowing in the current. You step in, the cold slicing through your skin like a whisper, waking your feet up even if the rest of your body protests. You unwrap the bundle. Inside your sleeping cloth, your spare tunic, and a few undergarments. Nothing fancy. Zulu warriors don't drape themselves in silk. You scrub with purpose, working soap root into a light foam. It smells faintly sweet, something between fresh bark and rain, and makes your hands slick. The rhythm starts again. Slap, rinse, beat. ring over and over. A few warriors joke about who has the dirtiest shirt. One poor guy's tunic has a mystery stain that looks suspiciously like fermented goat milk. Another claims it's love magic gone wrong. Everyone laughs, but it's not all jokes. This is where conversations flow, deep ones. Someone nearby starts talking about a cousin who joined a different regiment and saw the king up close. Another mentions a skirmish from last season, how fast things can shift from routine to chaos. A spear misstep, a single broken shield, a shout in the wrong direction. History hangs heavy in these waters, even if the surface seems calm. You finish rinsing, twisting the fabric until your knuckles go white. Then you spread everything over a rock, warmed by the sun. The wind will do the rest. There's no laundry line, no clothespins, just heat and patience. Someone pulls out a small hand drum and starts tapping a soft beat while his clothes dry. The sound melds with the wind, the birds, the rush of water. You close your eyes for a moment and let the world slow down. Then buzzing, you swat at your leg, flies, maybe mosquitoes. One of the guys slaps his arm and curses softly, not in anger, more like a ritual, the way someone in the modern world might mutter about traffic. Just one of those eternal battles, man versus bug. In some parts of the kingdom, warriors use ash or cow dung to keep them at bay. Historians still argue whether the dung was more ceremonial or purely practical. Either way, you haven't tried it yet. The water glistens under the sun now, a reminder that time is passing. You collect your clothes, folding each piece carefully, even though your tunic is just basic cotton and your sleeping cloth is worn at the edges. They're yours. They hold your scent, your sweat, your life. You treat them with care. After all, a warrior's pride isn't just in his spear, it's in how he carries himself, clean and sharp and presentable. As you head back uphill, a shout rings out high and clear. A messenger. He's young, breathless, and covered in dust. His beadwork sash swings as he skids to a stop in the center of the kraal. All eyes turn to him. The women pause their grinding. Children stop chasing chickens. Even the dogs lift their heads. The air tenses. He speaks quickly, formally, hands moving as much as his mouth. A visit is coming, someone from the royal court. Not the king himself, but an emissary. A Nduna, a regional commander. He's inspecting warriors, gathering reports. Which regiments are sharp? Which ones need discipline? You can almost hear the collective inhale. That means today isn't just drills and laundry anymore. Today is also about impressing. Someone mutters, "Better oil your shield." Another replies, "Better hide your goat milk stains." You hurry back to your hut and unfold your sleeping cloth to wrap your clean tunic. This one has minor embroidery, just enough to catch the eye without suggesting vanity. You use a bone comb to straighten your hair, slicking it with fat until it lies flat and clean. Some warriors apply ochre to their skin, an earthy red tone that brings out the sheen of muscles and the fire of eyes. You debate it, just a little around the collarbone, maybe enough to say, "Yes, I'm ready." But no, I didn't spend 3 hours trying. Outside, the kraal transforms. Warriors align their shields like polished rows of thunder. Spears stand tall in hand. The women whisper and adjust the beads on their sons' armbands. Even the older men, usually grumbling in the shade, stand with more weight in their chests. When the emissary arrives, he comes on foot. His cloak is darker than night, fringed with white fur. He wears a ring around his neck, a symbol of status, and carries no weapon. He doesn't need one. His presence is the blade. He walks the line, eyes scanning, saying little. When he reaches you, he pauses just long enough to make your stomach twist. Then he moves on. You exhale. There's a speech. You don't hear much of it. Honestly, something about discipline, honor, the strength of the kingdom. Your ears are still ringing from the quiet judgment of his gaze. Then he leaves. No applause, no farewell song, just footsteps and dust. And just like that, the warriors relax, shoulders drop, jokes return. Someone finally says, "Okay, now I need fermented porridge." You smile, because you know this is the Zulu way, an intense flash of order and pride, then a return to rhythm, to normal, or whatever passes for it in a warrior's life. You look down at your shield, at the sweat drying on your skin. Today was more than just drills and laundry. It was a reminder at any moment the kingdom might look your way, and when it does, you'd better look ready. You wake before dawn again, your muscles aching in the same familiar places, shoulders, thighs, the small of your back. There's no alarm, no rooster needed, just instinct, and the first thread of pale light unraveling across the sky. Another day begins, and with it, your morning routine. This time, it starts with heat. Not fire yet, but the memory of it. You step outside and walk barefoot over the cool earth toward the cooking circle. Thin smoke snakes up from the early embers as one of the older women fans the coals back to life. The air smells of yesterday's ash and today's promise. Breakfast in a Zulu warrior kraal isn't a feast, it's fuel. You grab a wooden bowl and wait your turn. A porridge called uphuthu thick, dry maize meal lands with a soft thump into your dish. Sometimes it's just maize and water. Other times, a splash of soured milk gets added, giving it a tang that pinches your tongue awake. You eat quietly, watching the sun rise over the rounded huts and woven fences. There's a rhythm to chewing in silence with other men. It doesn't need conversation. It is conversation. Someone breaks the silence by humming. Another clicks his tongue in agreement. No one laughs, but everyone's smiling. Once the bowl is scraped clean, you rise again. Not for drills, not yet. Today is spear check day. You head to the weapon shed, a shaded structure where the warriors store their ikulwa, short stabbing spears with wide, leaf-shaped blades, and their knob carries, thick clubs used for close combat or ceremonial dances. Your spear hangs beside others, marked only by the leather cord you tied around its haft. It's dull now, from last week's exercises. Time to fix that. You sit under a tree with a piece of smooth stone and begin honing the blade's edge. It takes time, small circles, steady hands, not just for sharpness, but for pride. A dull spear is a careless soul. Someone nearby is working obsidian into a replacement tip for their throwing spear. He's careful not to chip it too far. "One wrong flick," he mutters, "and I'm just throwing a stick." You nod. Been there. Nearby, another warrior oils his shield, goat hide stretched over a wood frame. It squeaks slightly under his hands, and he curses when the oil drips on his leg. The hide bites, he jokes. It remembers last week's battle more than I do. Historians still argue whether warriors performed this maintenance daily or only during inspection weeks. But if you ask anyone here, they'll tell you you don't wait for a battle to start preparing. By mid-morning, the clink of metal and thud of wooden handles give way to motion. A call rings out, and just like that, formation begins. Not for drills this time, but a show. Today is Umzila, a movement exercise meant to simulate a battlefield approach. It's part dance, part strategy, all intensity. You line up in the familiar buffalo horns formation, center block tight, side flanks curving forward, just like in the stories. You're part of the chest, the strongest, steadiest section. Not for showy moves, not for speed. You're the wall that holds while the flanks encircle. You march. Dust kicks up beneath your feet. The chant begins, deep and rising. Your heart matches it beat for beat. Biwu, you shout, you stamp. You twist your spear as if to strike. Even though there's no one there, not yet. Someone stumbles. Another helps him up mid-step. No pause, no falter. A commander walks along the line, eyes sharp. He corrects posture with a tap, not a scold. Every shoulder must square, every foot must strike in unison. As you move, your skin warms, sweat prickling at your back, drying as fast as it comes. The sun blazes now, high and firm. Your breath gets heavier, your movement slower, but still you don't stop, because that's the test. Zulu warriors train to be fast, but not rushed, fierce, but not sloppy, and above all tireless. When the drill ends, no one collapses. You just shift back into rest posture, chest out, hands gripping your weapons in perfect symmetry. The commander nods, and just like that, you're dismissed. Water comes next. You drink from a shared jug passed down the line, cool and clay sweet. It's enough to stop your head from spinning, but not enough to quench everything. No one complains. Hydration's important, but discipline. More so, you drop off your weapons and head toward the training circle for a different kind of exercise. This time, mock combat, paired with a partner. You grip practice spears lighter than the real thing, but still dangerous if wielded carelessly. A drum taps, you move, thrust, parry, sidestep, spin. The footwork matters. The breathing matters more. Your opponent grins. He's faster than you, but not stronger. When you catch his move, you twist his arm gently but firmly and push him off balance. He lands with a grin of his own. You help him up. This isn't about winning. Not here. It's about readiness. Nearby, an elder clicks his tongue. "Don't cross your feet," he mutters. That's how you end up face down in front of a spearhead. Everyone laughs again, quietly. Nothing ever gets too loud here, even the humor. You break for a moment and sit on a carved stone at the edge of the training circle. Your arms buzz with the day's weight, and your mind wanders. You think about the Nduna from yesterday. Did he report favorably? Is your regiment considered ready? No one knows. Not yet, but you feel ready. Well, almost. A few warriors walk by discussing their dreams from the night before. One saw a leopard stalking the kraal. Another dreamed of fire raining from the sky. Dreams are taken seriously here. Some say they're signs. Others say they're just old meat talking. You remember your own dream vaguely, something about a river that flowed backwards, and a voice calling your name. Weird. You rise again. Another call rings out. Time for evening preparations. Aibu. You nod. Another long day. Another small battle. Not with enemies, but with the discipline required to live like this. Every single day. And you're starting to get the rhythm. You step aside just long enough to wash the sweat from your arms and face. A bowl of cool water waits near the edge of the training circle, and you scoop some up with both hands, splashing your cheeks. The dust turns to tiny rivulets on your skin, streaking down like war paint in reverse. There's a quiet satisfaction in rinsing off the day's effort, like peeling away a layer of exhaustion and revealing resolve underneath. You notice the other warriors doing the same, some kneeling beside small ceramic jugs, others just wiping their arms with a damp scrap of cloth. No one speaks too much now. The energy has shifted. It's the evening ritual phase of your day, a slower rhythm, but no less structured. You return to your hut, where your younger cousin has laid out your evening cloth. Nothing fancy, just a lighter wrap for the cooler hours ahead. As you slip it over your shoulders, the woven fibers still carry the sun's warmth. You adjust the folds carefully. Appearance may not be armor here, but it's still a kind of message. The air smells different in the evenings, less ash, more grass. Smoke still curls lazily from the cooking areas, but now it's the smoky sweetness of roasted yams and grilled meat. Not everyone eats meat every day, but tonight is special. Tonight is Ibutho feast night. You and your fellow warriors were permitted a communal roast, a sign of favor, or maybe just the right alignment of supply and patience. Either way, it's rare enough to feel exciting, but familiar enough not to be overwhelming. You gather with your regiment beneath the meeting awning, a simple shade structure made from thatch and poles. The fire pit has been lit higher now, sending golden flickers up the faces of the men around you. Someone hands you a small cut of roasted goat crisp skin, juicy center, a hint of wild herbs rubbed in by the older women who prepared it. You bite in. The flavor is sharp, rich, grounding, a reward, but also a reminder. This isn't a feast for comfort, it's a bonding tool. The chewing is rhythmic again, silent, respectful, almost ceremonial. Across the fire, one of the oldest warriors leans forward and begins to speak. He's not telling a story, not exactly. It's more like a puzzle wrapped in parable. His voice is slow, deep, and winding. He talks about a tortoise who challenged a lion to a duel, not to win, but to teach the lion patience. Historians still argue whether stories like these were improvised, rehearsed, or even shared regionally. But they live in the bones of every listener here. You don't interrupt, you just listen. A chuckle rises when the tortoise tricks the lion into getting stuck in a hollow log. You smile too, not because it's hilarious, but because it's true. In its own strange way, the lesson, sometimes survival means knowing when to be slow. Later, as embers cool and scraps are tossed to the dogs, your group begins the evening body maintenance routine. Think of it like medieval sports therapy. One warrior is stretching his legs against a tree. Another is using a smooth stone to rub down his calves, easing out knots and soreness. You follow suit, lying flat and rolling your shoulders against a firm coil of wrapped grass. It creaks with the pressure, but your spine thanks you. Nearby, someone talks about a remedy for sore joints, a paste made from crushed wild garlic and beeswax. He swears by it, says his uncle once ran 20 miles without stopping, thanks to that little miracle in a gourd. You laugh, but still ask for some, just in case. In the distance, a few men begin practicing the evening call response chants. These aren't battle cries, they're rhythmic, calm, almost lullaby-like. You know them well. Each chant tells a story or praises an ancestor, a chief, or a creature of legend. You join in without thinking. Your voice blends with theirs, deepening on the low notes, trailing on the high ones. Your body responds too, shoulders loosening, hands tapping lightly against your thigh in time with the beat. It's meditative, soothing, like a vocal massage for your thoughts. One chant ends with a burst of breathy laughter from a younger warrior who forgot a line. No scolding, just a few good-natured clicks and a second round of the same verse. You lie back now, on your reed mat beneath the awning, gazing up at the evening sky. It's clearer than you expect. No smoke, no cloud, just stars, more of them than you can count. No constellations that you've ever drawn in school books. Just the raw, wild scatter of light across a world that doesn't care if you name it. A shooting star cuts across the sky. Someone whispers a wish. Someone else jokes that it's just a very fast bird. You smile again, letting the coolness of the night air sink into your skin. Your mat is firm, but not uncomfortable. Your arms are tired, but not aching. Your stomach is full, but not heavy. You're balanced. And that's when the drums begin again, faint, distant, soft. This time, not for war or training or drills. These are ceremonial heartbeat drums, played by a rotating team of women from the central homestead. Their rhythm mimics the body, 2 quick beats, 1 pause, repeat. You find your breathing sinking to it before you even notice. In and out, in and out. The fire's low now. The laughter's gone quieter, the stars are brighter, and for the first time all day, you let your eyelids droop just a little. A fellow warrior bumps your shoulder gently. You're on watch duty in an hour. You nod, slowly, and settle into the present moment. One more breath, one more chant, one more hour before you return to the perimeter to scan the grasslands where the real world still waits in silence. You rise from your mat, the night's chill creeping into your bones as you prepare for the midnight watch. The air is cool but not biting, scented faintly with the lingering smoke from dying embers and the sharp aroma of crushed wild sage tucked into the folds of your cloak. Your comrades stir, their movements careful, respectful of the fragile calm before the storm of duty. Foot by toe, stepping outside the safety of the homestead circle, The vast expanse of the veld stretches out under a blanket of stars, unbroken and endless. Your eyes adjust quickly, picking out the dark silhouettes of acacia trees, the shimmering shadows of the tall grass whispering secrets to the breeze. The only sounds are the distant calls of nocturnal birds and the soft padding of your sandals on the dry earth. The night watch is no time for bravado. It's a solitary vigil, a test of patience and awareness. Your spear is steady in your hand, its wooden shaft worn smooth from years of use. You remind yourself that every minute spent scanning the horizon keeps your people safe from lurking dangers, lions, rival clans, or unexpected storms. In this silence, the weight of responsibility is heavier than any weapon. You recall a curious tale told by an elder just days before a story about the shadow leopard, a phantom beast said to move silently between the worlds of the living and the ancestors. Some claim it's a guardian spirit, others whisper it's a warning of death. Historians still argue whether such legends are metaphors for actual predators or reflections of deeper spiritual beliefs. Whatever the truth, the story seeps into your thoughts as you scan the dark edges of the grassland. The moon hangs low, a silver sickle slicing through the sky, casting pale light that makes the world appear both clearer and more mysterious. You remember that Zulu warriors traditionally believed the moon's phases influenced their strength and luck in battle. Full moons were times of courage, new moons times of reflection. Tonight's crescent seems just right for quiet vigilance. Your breath clouds in the cold air. A sudden rustle catches your ear, a bush shaking gently near the path. You freeze, muscles taut. Out steps a small mongoose, darting swiftly away, its eyes bright and curious in the moonlight. Relief floods you like warm water. It's these little moments, these tiny brushes with life, that keep the loneliness at bay. As the night deepens, your thoughts drift to the contrasting philosophies of your people. Some embrace the stoic discipline of warriors past, favoring austerity and endurance. Others lean towards more indulgent comforts. When off-duty, herbs to soothe tired muscles, songs to ease the mind, even whispered prayers to the ancestors. You're somewhere in between, balancing respect for tradition with the small luxuries that keep you human. You check your spear again, feeling the familiar grooves in the leather wrapping. The night is silent but alive. The stars wheel overhead, ancient and indifferent witnesses to your watch. Suddenly, a distant shout breaks the stillness, a sentinel from a neighboring post signaling that all is well. You exhale, feeling the tension ease from your shoulders. The hours crawl by, marked only by the slow turning of the sky and the steady beat of your heart syncing with the earth's pulse. You think of the day ahead, training, strategy, camaraderie, and know that this quiet vigil is as vital as any clash of spears. In these solitary moments, you become part of something larger than yourself, a thread woven into the fabric of your people's history and future. You glance back towards the homestead, its faint lights like stars fallen to earth. The first hints of dawn tinge the horizon, promising the return of warmth, noise, and life. For now, you stand guard, the night your companion, the spear your silent pledge. The first blush of dawn paints the sky in soft hues of apricot and lavender as you return to the homestead. Your steps slow but purposeful. The air is crisp with morning freshness, carrying the scent of dew-soaked grass and the faint sweetness of wildflowers blooming nearby. You can hear the rhythmic pounding of a wooden pestle in a mortar, a signal that daily life is stirring. Women preparing meals and medicines, children beginning to chatter as the sun climbs higher. Inside the enclosure, the low walls cast long shadows, the familiar shapes of huts and granaries outlined against the awakening light. Your body aches pleasantly from the night's watch, muscles stretched and tightened in readiness, and you long for the cool splash of water from the communal basin to wash away the dust and sweat. Nearby, an elder sits cross-legged, skin weathered but eyes bright. weaving thin strips of palm leaves into a small basket. You nod in greeting, sharing a moment of quiet respect that speaks volumes without words. Historians still debate how much of Zulu daily life was ritualized versus spontaneous, but here in this moment, the rhythms feel deeply rooted in a blend of both. As you move through the courtyard, your gaze falls on the weapons rack spears tipped with polished iron, shields of cowhide painted in bold, earthy patterns, all resting in neat order. You remember how warriors like yourself maintain their gear meticulously, knowing that survival depends on sharp blades and sturdy defenses. But there's also a pride in the craftsmanship, each spear's balance, every shield's curve a testament to skill and tradition. The chatter grows louder as young boys practice mock combat nearby, wooden swords clashing with spirited yells and laughter. Their energy is contagious, a reminder that you too once stood in their place. Wide-eyed and eager, you chuckle quietly, recalling a strange story told by a traveling merchant about Zulu warriors who trained while balancing crocodile eggs on their heads, an odd mix of balance, focus, and sheer bravado. Scholars still argue whether this was fact or fanciful exaggeration, but it makes you smile all the same. Breakfast is simple but nourishing, a bowl of sorghum porridge sweetened with honey, accompanied by roasted nuts and fresh fruit from the orchard. As you eat, the sun climbs steadily, warming the earth and igniting the vibrant colors of your clothing, deep indigos, rich russets, and saffron yellows that speak of status and identity. You appreciate these small luxuries, reminders of your place within the complex tapestry of your people. Nearby, a fire crackles in a clay hearth, sending tendrils of smoke curling upwards, mingling with the scent of burning sage and medicinal herbs. The women of the household move with practiced grace, preparing dyes for fabrics and crafting intricate beadwork that will later adorn your regalia. You admire their artistry and patience. These details are as much a part of warrior life as the spear and shield. As the morning unfolds, you feel the pull of duty yet again, the call to train, to prepare, to embody the strength and resilience expected of you. But for now, in these moments of calm and connection, you savor the delicate balance between rest and readiness, between the personal and the communal. You glance toward the horizon where the sky brightens, a reminder that every day brings new challenges and triumphs, woven together like the fibers of the baskets in your hands. The sun climbs higher, warming the air and casting a golden glow over the training grounds where you now find yourself. The rhythmic thud of shields and the sharp clash of spears fills the space, a symphony of preparation and resolve. You step onto the compacted earth, the dust rising in soft clouds with each practice strike, and join your comrades for the morning drills. Their faces are set with determination, their movements precise and fluid, honed through years of repetition and shared hardship. You grip your assegai, feeling the familiar weight and balance, the polished wood smooth beneath your fingers, and fall into the steady cadence of the exercises. Training is more than physical, it's a mental forge, shaping resilience and focus. You recall how elders insist that a warrior's strength is measured as much by patience and strategy as by brute force. As you maneuver through mock battles, you appreciate the blend of agility and strength required to succeed. Nearby, the clang of iron on iron reminds you that your ancestors' mastery of metallurgy gave you an edge unmatched in the region. The art of forging a spearhead is a revered skill, passed down through generations, and each weapon carries the story of its maker's dedication. While you sweat under the fierce midday sun, a curious tale drifts through the ranks. Some say that certain warriors trained with their eyes closed to sharpen their other senses, trusting instinct over sight. Historians still argue whether this was widespread practice or a poetic exaggeration meant to inspire courage. You smirk at the thought but admit that there is merit in honing all the senses. especially in the chaos of battle. After the intense session, the group disperses to seek shade and water. You lean against a tree, catching your breath, and watch a pair of young warriors perform a ceremonial dance nearby. Their movements are both graceful and fierce, telling stories of past glories and ancestral spirits. The dance is a reminder that war is not just about conflict, but about identity, honor, and connection to the land. As you sip from your water skin, you reflect on the simple pleasures intertwined with the rigors of warrior life, the laughter shared after drills, the quiet moments beneath the acacia trees, the satisfaction of a well-maintained spear. It's these fragments of daily life that weave together into a tapestry richer than any battlefield victory. The afternoon light softens, and you prepare to return to the homestead, ready for the evening rituals that will close the day. As the sun dips low, casting long shadows across the savanna, you find yourself back at the homestead, greeted by the familiar sense of cooking fires and earth-warmed clay walls. The day's heat lingers, but a gentle breeze carries the promise of cooler night air. You step inside the hut, where the flicker of oil lamps casts dancing patterns on woven mats and carved wooden pillars. The women of your family are busy preparing the evening meal, their hands deftly grinding millet and arranging fresh vegetables gathered from the nearby fields. The chatter is soft but lively, the cadence of voices blending with the crackle of flames and the rhythmic thump of a pestle in a mortar. Dinner is a communal affair, not just for nourishment, but for strengthening bonds. As you sit cross-legged on the mat, you share stories from the day, tales of training triumphs, the antics of young apprentices, and whispers of news from neighboring clans. You notice how every meal is punctuated by a sense of gratitude, a moment to acknowledge the ancestors and the spirits that guide and protect you. Before eating, the eldest woman raises a small wooden bowl of sorghum beer, offering a silent toast to courage and unity. The food itself is simple but hearty: roasted meat, thick porridge, and a medley of greens seasoned with wild herbs. Each bite grounds you in the land that sustains you, connecting body and place. There's a rhythm here, in the passing of plates and the communal laughter, that soothes the warrior's restless spirit after a day of exertion. Interestingly, some elders believe that sharing a meal this way also teaches humility and trust, virtues as vital on the battlefield as skill with the spear. Historians still argue whether these communal meals evolved primarily for social cohesion or practical survival, but their importance is undeniable. As night deepens, you feel the pull of ritual beckoning you outside. The crackling firelight illuminates the faces of your kin gathered for the evening ceremony. Drums begin to beat, low and steady, summoning ancestral presence. You join the circle, stepping into the dance of shadow and flame, each movement a link to the past and a pledge for the future. The steady pulse of the drum matches the rhythm of your heartbeat, and for a moment, the world outside fades, leaving only the sacred dance of warrior and spirit. The night settles deeper, stars unfolding overhead like scattered beads on dark velvet, and you retreat to your sleeping quarters, simple but carefully arranged. Your mat lies on the cool earth floor, draped with a woven blanket dyed in the deep indigos and russets of your clan's colors. Nearby, your spear and shield rest, always within reach, a constant reminder that vigilance never sleeps. As you lie down, you reflect on the rituals that mark the end of a warrior's day, silent prayers whispered to the ancestors, the gentle tapping of sticks on a hollowed gourd to summon protective spirits, and the soft rustling of the wind through the thatched roof. Sleep, however, is not a given. It is earned through the discipline of mind and body. You recall the teachings of the elders who stress the importance of mental preparation, breath control, calming the restless thoughts that could unravel focus come dawn. Some warriors swear by herbal infusions brewed from local plants to ease tension, though opinions differ on their effectiveness, and some accuse these remedies of dulling the senses. Historians still debate how widespread such practices were, or if they were reserved for special occasions or senior warriors. In the stillness, you hear the distant calls of night birds and the soft rustle of creatures stirring in the brush. The cool night air carries both comfort and caution. This land is alive even when the sun sleeps. Your thoughts wander briefly to dreams, visions of glory, of battles fought and won, and perhaps fleeting moments of peace with those you hold dear. You pull the blanket tighter and allow your body to surrender to rest, knowing that tomorrow will demand the full measure of your strength and spirit once again. Yet, in this quiet moment, surrounded by the familiar, you find a fragile calm, a fleeting reprieve before the relentless rhythm of warrior life resumes. The first light of dawn creeps through the narrow gaps in the thatched walls, casting slanting beams across the camp and stirring the village to life. You rise with the sun, muscles still heavy from sleep, but mind alert. Today begins with the sacred cleansing ritual, an act as much spiritual as practical, where water drawn from the nearby river is poured over your hands and face to wash away the night's shadows. The cool rush is a jolt to your senses, sharpening your focus and preparing you for the day's duties. You notice the faint scent of burning sage carried on the breeze, an offering to the spirits, meant to protect and purify. Your fellow warriors gather soon after, each donning garments dyed in rich earth tones, deep ochre, forest green, and vibrant teal, woven with patterns that tell stories of ancestry and valor. The rhythmic tapping of feet and the low murmur of voices weave together as your group moves toward the training grounds. Here, strength and skill are honed, not just for survival, but for honor. Each thrust of the spear and sweep of the shield is measured, deliberate. You remember how some elders insist that the perfect warrior body is a temple, disciplined through movement and mindfulness, while others argue that spirit and courage outweigh brute strength. Historians still debate how much the Zulu emphasize each. In the midst of drills, you catch sight of a young warrior mastering the throwing assegai, his form steady but his eyes burning with eagerness, a reminder that every veteran was once a novice. Nearby, women prepare meals over open fires, their laughter mingling with the clang of iron and the cries of hawks circling overhead. The day unfolds in a seamless blend of labor, learning, and quiet reflection, a delicate balance held together by tradition and necessity. You breathe deeply, feeling the pulse of your people and the land beneath your feet, knowing this is the rhythm that shapes your very being. The midday sun climbs high, its golden blaze warming the red earth beneath your feet and casting sharp shadows across the village. You join the communal meal, seated on woven mats beside your comrades, sharing bowls of maize porridge thickened with wild herbs and sweetened with honey from nearby hives. The taste is simple but sustaining, grounding you in the present moment. Around you, elders speak softly of past battles and ancestral wisdom, their voices carrying the weight of generations. You sip a cool drink made from fermented sorghum, feeling the subtle buzz as it settles in your belly, an age-old tradition believed to fortify both body and spirit. After the meal, there is time for storytelling beneath the shade of the large Umkanyakude tree, its twisting branches a natural canopy against the blazing sun. You listen as a griot recounts the exploits of Shaka, the great king whose strategies reshaped the Zulu nation, emphasizing discipline and unity. Some say his reforms were brutal but necessary. Others argue that his legacy is a complicated mix of strength and sacrifice. Historians still debate whether his impact was ultimately positive or devastating. The stories are woven with song and dance, creating a tapestry of memory that pulses with life. You feel the comforting rhythm of drums calling you back to practice, reminding you that even in moments of rest, the warrior's path is never far. As you rise, the breeze picks up, carrying the faint scent of blooming aloes, a sweet counterpoint to the earthy smells of the land. You gather your shield and spear, ready to meet the afternoon's challenges, knowing each movement is part of a larger story written in the dust and sun. The afternoon air is thick with the scent of sweat and smoke as you return to the training grounds, where the crackling of a small fire mingles with the sharp clang of wooden shields meeting spears. You practice your footwork, each step measured and deliberate, a dance of survival and honor. The instructor's voice is firm but encouraging, reminding you that precision trumps brute force, a lesson carved into Zulu martial tradition. Nearby, younger warriors watch eagerly, their eyes shining with dreams of glory, while the elders nod knowingly, aware that discipline is the true path to strength. You pause to catch your breath and notice the intricate beadwork on your comrades' shields, symbols of clan identity and personal achievements. The colors are bold indigo, ochre, and scarlet, each bead telling a story. You recall the curious practice of painting shields with fat and ochre to make them waterproof and more durable, a clever innovation that blends utility with artistry. It's a subtle reminder that even in war, creativity finds its place. Historians still argue whether these designs held mystical power or were simply practical markers for identification, but the pride they inspire is undeniable. As the sun begins its slow descent, the training winds down with a ritual dance, the pounding drum syncing with the beating of your heart. You move in time, your body attuned to the rhythm, feeling a deep connection to your ancestors and the land that shapes you. The sky shifts from bright blue to a tapestry of purples and golds, signaling the close of day and the approach of night's mysteries. The evening settles over the village like a soft blanket, and you find yourself drawn to the communal fire where elders share stories beneath a canopy of stars. Their voices rise and fall in melodic cadence, weaving tales of past battles, heroic deeds, and the spirits that guide your people. You listen, wrapped in a warm hide cloak, the crackling flames casting flickering shadows on weathered faces that glow with wisdom and pride. Nearby, the scent of roasted maize mingles with the crisp night air, grounding you in the moment while your mind wanders through history and myth alike. You notice how the warriors' faces are marked not just by scars, but by intricate tribal paint white dots and lines that signify rank, courage, and rites of passage. This ceremonial adornment, carefully applied with ash and ochre, feels like a tangible link to the spiritual world, a shield against misfortune. Some elders argue that these markings were as much about intimidation as tradition, a theory debated by scholars even now, but there's no denying their power to unite and embolden the group. As the night deepens, you gaze up at the Southern Cross constellation, guiding travelers and hunters alike. The songs slow, voices soften, and a peaceful hush blankets the village, inviting rest. You feel a gentle pull toward your hut, where your bed of grasses and skins awaits, promising dreams stitched from the day's lessons and tomorrow's hopes. The first light of dawn slips quietly through your hut's woven reed walls, brushing your face with the soft promise of a new day. You stretch beneath your simple blanket, feeling the familiar ache in muscles honed by constant training and the gentle weight of responsibility. Outside, the village stirs, women pounding millet, children chasing chickens, and the rhythmic beating of drums calling warriors to assemble. You rise, the cool earth beneath your feet grounding you as you prepare for what lies ahead. Your morning routine begins with a ritual cleansing, using water drawn from the nearby stream, refreshing body and spirit alike. The scent of crushed wild herbs lingers on your skin, a subtle reminder of your connection to the land and ancestors. Dressing in your leather and fur, you feel the balance of protection and mobility, readying yourself not only for battle, but for the everyday duties that weave the fabric of your community. Before you depart, you pause at the sacred grove where the Sangoma once communed with the spirits. You offer a silent prayer, seeking guidance and strength, a practice steeped in mystery and meaning. debated endlessly among historians who wonder how much was faith and how much political symbolism. Yet, here in this moment, it feels deeply real. As the sun climbs higher, you join your comrades, the air thick with anticipation and the unmistakable scent of smoke and earth. Together, you step forward, warriors bound by tradition, courage, and the quiet determination to protect all that you hold dear.